Hello, I'm Marty Six Instructors here, and today I think I'm gonna make a video discussing the Flash season 8, and the theory I have. So apparently speaking, we know that there is gonna be some sort of a team up later down in the season. And typically what most people are saying so far is that the main villains are gonna be Red Death or Cabal Blue. Now, that said, the finale has actually some very interesting pictures. So we see this new reverse Flash suit, which is black. Now, that said, I don't think this is Eobard Dawn. The problem is why would he be using a black suit? It doesn't add up, so I don't believe this is Reverse Flash. It could be Zoom, but then again, how can he come back? Godspeed makes a little bit more sense, but even then, it doesn't make sense why we changed outfits. So what I'm saying is that I don't think this is arguably a new speedster we are meeting. Now, a while ago I said that maybe Quicksilver is one of the few potential main villains for Season 8. I said that alongside Ghost Rider and the Punisher. And also, I believe now they're going to be doing Cabal Blue. The Ghost Rider, I believe, is going to be Deathstorm, or their version of the Red Death. Meaning Red Death is just going to be an alias he uses by, or what the media is going to call him, but in reality he calls himself Deathstorm. Now, I want to talk about each main villain explained. So let's get started. Now, Deathstorm in the comics, there's actually two Deathstorms. The one Deathstorm is a Black Lantern version of Firestorm, but I don't believe they're going for that one because that's more of a Green Lantern storm, Blackest Night. Now, yes, before anybody comments, yes, I'm aware the Flash plays a part in that storyline. But I just don't think Flash really. I mean, the thing that's different between shows like The Flash, Arrow, Batwoman, and Supergirl is that they each have different tones. Arrow is more street level, more with like mystical stuff, so more street mystical stuff. Batwoman, I haven't seen the entire show, to me is more of just regular drug dealers or crime lords, street stuff essentially. Supergirl is more political and sci-fi. The Flash is just straight up sci-fi with some realistic moments. I don't think that they're going to be using zombies in the Flash. As much as people want to see zombies, it's just not possible. You could see zombies on like Arrow. That would work a little bit more. So in terms of the Flash, I think what they're doing here is this. Is that they're having each main villain have a graphic novel so that the next season you actually have the Flash versus the Legion of Zoom. Similar to how they did in The Walking Dead season 6 and 7 and 8, where they adapted like a few storylines and just integrated it. I know a lot of people didn't like those 3 seasons, but I think the Flash is pulling something similar. So season 8 is going to be the first storyline with these new villains terrorizing Central City, but have been probably the Flash's worst enemies, like ever since Cicada, or Dawn, or Savitar. So that is who I think what they're doing. For Deathstorm, they're doing more of a evil Firestorm. There's actually 2 Deathstorms in the comics. One of which we already saw in season 2, where you have it's basically an evil version of Ronnie. Though in the comics, it's actually Martin Stein. It's part of the crime syndicate, where the other one is the Black Lantern. I don't think they're pulling one of those 2. Now, I did make a video discussing maybe this Black Flame is Ghost Rider, and here's my reasoning. Ghost Rider and Deathstorm sound like a name. Deathstorm sounds like a name closer to a Ghost Rider character. To me, I think it just makes more logical sense that this is how they're going to be using Ghost Rider. because I'm gonna straight up say Ghost Rider is Marvel, but the name Deathstorm is DC. So what they're pulling out is you're gonna be using Ghost Rider, just naming him Deathstorm so that it's still DC, when in reality it's Marvel essentially. So that's what they're doing with Deathstorm. Meaning it's not Ronnie, meaning it's either a close friend of Barry Allen, or yeah, so I think a close friend of Barry Allen who had basically the same history as him. The only difference is that he grew up with like a circus and step parents, etc. So that is how I think they're doing Ghost Rider. Shredder. So yeah. The next villain I have is the Punisher. Now, the Punisher is actually basically the same character as Oliver Queen was in season 1. So that's what they're going to look at. Just basically Oliver Queen from season 1, from Arrow season 1, just instead of bow, guns, essentially. Grenades, knives, axes, bows, whatever. As many deadly arsenals as you can. But here's, I think, the problem when it comes to the character of the Punisher. I know a lot of people are like, he just doesn't work for the Flash. He kind of does. To me, the best way I can see the Punisher on the Flash is this. A new criminal has come to Central City, killing a lot of innocent civilians. The Flash does not know how to stop this guy, but then realizes it's Frank Castle. So now, I think the thing is, I think the reason why is that I actually think serial killers or drug lords could work if you at least give them motivations that seem connected to the Flash. It's one of the problems I had with Zoom. He had no motivation that either was at least understandable or actually connected to the Flash. Cicada had that. That's why I like Cicada, and that's why I know some people are like, why are you saying on these types of villains where you didn't like Zoom? Well, here's the thing. I think a domestic abuser could work if you're at least connecting it to the Flash, or understandable, at least. That's how I could see this, and that's why I see the Punisher coming up, saying, Menace killed my entire family, while I was at war, and because of that, I swore all revenge on the Flash, because he's the one who started this, technically. So that's how I think they're going to be doing the Punisher. Now, the final villain, I do have a few more villains, but I'm going to go with the final one last. Next one, I have Negan. Now, the thing I think what makes Negan in the comics is that he's essentially the Walking Dead's version of the Joker. You know, he's crazy, he talks to a baseball bat who he seems is a person, he terrorizes other communities. Here's what I think his role can play in season 8. So, basically, he threatens to blow up the entire city. Negan threatens to destroy all of Central City, almost like the entire city, unless they give him money, food, water, a house, and a calf, essentially, just like how it is in the show and in the comics. Because of that, Team Flash has to realize that, how are we going to stop this guy? Because these people clearly need food, water, supplies, houses, and if that can't happen, well then, yeah, we're screwed. To do this, Barry can't time travel, because if he does, well, Flashpoint. Sorry, Barry, you have to essentially do a Flashpoint again. But what I'm saying is, Barry has to actually start going crazy. Because of that, it's going to be nearly impossible for Barry to even stop Negan, because of the fact that he can literally take over Central City. Now, the next villain I choose is the Governor. Now, like Negan, he's also from The Walking Dead. And I think the Governor works best as a brutal leader. Some of the stuff that he does in the comics I can't talk about, because demonetization or getting banned on YouTube. Yeah, man, YouTube really needs to fix a lot of things. But well, I think the problem with the governor, I think the thing is with the governor is that here's how I would do the governor on the Flash. Basically saying he was a normal everyday man who one day was taking care of his niece or daughter before Meta actually kills his daughter as part, and that's when he descended into madness and he starts thinking the Flash is on these metas and he wants to kill the Flash. However, because of that, Flash at one point accidentally beats him in the eye so bad he becomes blind and he has to wear a Deathstroke eye patch essentially. That's how I can see the governor. And finally, our runner-up is a domestic violence cult. Here's how I could see them doing this off. because of this Deathstorm or Ghost Rider character is running around terrorizing people who suffer grief are starting to drink, and because of that are becoming alcoholics. And essentially speaking, it's nearly impossible for at least Barry to at least talk with them, to explain, I'm trying to solve this problem, and then the cult begins hating the Flash. The more and more people are joining this cult, the more and more it becomes harder and harder and harder for the Flash to really stop it. Now, I did forget Cobalt Blue, so I just want to quickly mention how I would see Cobalt Blue. Taylor Downs, I believe was her name. Yeah, she was in the, what was it? Was it episode 8? Where Allegra was like that mentor? I don't know, I forgot the episode, but I think it was episode 8. That episode. That character Taylor is arguably Cobalt Blue, and probably knows the reason why she's going after everybody else is because everyone hunting Flash is because maybe she is Barry Allen's sister. And because of that, Barry has completely lost it at this point. Now, first, his daughter in season 5 turns on him. His mentor in season 1 turns on him. He just goes batshit crazy. In fact, I think at one point in the season, Barry becomes, I think at that point becomes an alcoholic and an abusive parent. Or an abusive person. Because of that, it drastically changes his character from someone who's likable and lovely to now someone who just doesn't care anymore and just hates people now. That is how I think they could use this, the domestic abuse and the Cobalt Blue storyline. We finally reach Quicksilver. Now, I believe Quicksilver is the leader of this Legion of Zoom. Now, you may have noticed, none of these were really speedster villains. That's because I don't think a speedster villain team up would even work. A speedster villain team up would not work. Because, and I'm gonna straight up say, the speedster villains, in my opinion, are the least interesting villains. They have some of the worst motivations, like, oh, I just want to destroy the whole multiverse just because, blah, 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 blah. Whereas, it just doesn't work. Reverse Flash is starting to become a bad villain. I'm starting to not like him anymore. And I believe that's why I think Quicksilver would work arguably as a better villain. I think Quicksilver is in this black Reverse Flash suit. Because of the fact is, now yes, I'm aware Quicksilver doesn't have a black suit in the comics. But I also think this also works better to symbolize the differences between the Flash and Quicksilver. Barry Allen wears a light red suit, where he goes out and becomes an inspiration of hope, or love I should say. Whereas Quicksilver is wearing a darker, more sadistic, more representing of chaos and anarchy. That is what I think that they're doing for the Quicksilver character. Now, that said, what I think they're doing here is Quicksilver has the Speed Force, Still Force, Sage Force, and Strength Force. I think he has all the forces because that would actually make him quite a deadly asset to a deadly opponent for Barry. He has to deal with the fact that he can't do anything to this guy. He has to just stand back and just try to win or face. But even then, it's not gonna work. But I feel like what these guys are doing are gonna be selling Velocity 9, so it means millions of people are gonna be injecting themselves with Velocity 9, and essentially speaking, this is probably the plan for Quicksilver to essentially break Barry. Wow, that was a long video. We're like, 39 minutes? Or 15 minutes to 43 seconds now. Jesus. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please like, share, subscribe, and as always, I'll see you next time. Good.